Hi, you have been invited to an online whiteboard session with a tool called MURAL, and please log in by using the URL which has been provided to you. Additionally, please use the password if applicable and enter your first and last name. There's no need for registration with MURAL. You just log in your name and log in your first name and last name into the MURAL board which you're accessing. When you have done that using Google Chrome or Firefox, but not Internet Explorer or Edge or any other browser, you then see something like this popping up onto your screen. You will have easy access to all of the tools on the left-hand side, except if they would have been disabled by the host for this session. And you can do multiple things on the first things. How to wander around and to read it properly, you just scroll in and scroll out with your mouse. Yeah, so you can zoom in or zoom out depending on where you are with your mouse, but also in the same way doing it there. If you do not have a mouse, you can work with this little trackpad on the side here and using his zoom factors to be logging in and so on. Coming now to the navigation, so very simple and very easy, like in Google Maps, you would zoom in, zoom out. If you want to wander around the board, you just click somewhere on the white space and you can move your board around. You can see on the right hand side here the little colored area. This is what you currently see of the total board. If you want to wander around differently, you can also click on one of the outline items which are here. You call up the outline with this little icon, and then you can just click onto the browser topic, for example. Yeah, so we're using a Google Chrome here, but you can also use Firefox or Safari, but you should not use any other browser as mentioned. You can also click on other outline items and then you will identify exactly what you want to see. If you want to zoom out, you just scroll again with your mouse and zoom out, and you can wander around by click and hold your mouse button and do it the other way around. When using this trackpad, you just do the same thing with the green area which you move around. Okay, let's come to the next topic. So what is important is that you don't increase sizes of shapes or fonts or sticky notes or anything like this because you can't read them. The answer is very simple. They are too small, then you need to scroll in so that you can see everything at once. This will be always helpful when you need to read something which you can't read in the overview. So do not increase font sizes and also sticky notes and other shapes, etc., just because you can't see them properly. Of course, if you want to use a title or anything like this, then increasing is of course sensible. If you want to follow another user, you can just simply click on that user with another icon and say follow, yeah, to follow the other user. Okay, now how do I add files, images, links? So if I want to add an image, I just click onto this image icon on the left hand side, and I do have a lot of different places. I can import an image by just simply dragging it here, or if I click onto here, I can then select where I want to import it from. Additionally, you can just go into a web search and say, I want to test something, and then I will see some images. There's, for example, an image which I want to like, then I'll just move it in, and that's it. Now I have that image on my board. This is very helpful for adding links, images, but also files which you can add with the same icon. Just press on this, put the files onto it, or drag the file onto the board. If you want to add sticky notes to your board, you just simply click here on the left hand side, the sticky which you want to have, for example, a quadrant one or a rectangle one. So let's assume we'll take the simple one, then you have got that available. Alternatively, you just double click anywhere on the board and you will get a new sticky note. If you want to put a little title on some grouped items, you can just insert a title and group the things around. Alternatively, you can mark multiple sticky notes by holding down the control key and doing a little selection around it. Then you can also put some items around it, and you can also organize it in a different way. You can also reshape them by having rectangles, shapes for example, but also other icons which are completely different, which are not like sticky notes but more as headers. Yeah. So let me just show you quickly. This is a typical one, or rectangle ones, and then you have got everything. If you want to format them, you do have everything around it. You can say no borders or borders having. You can put in also increasing the font size if needed at all, but normally you should not do that if it still fits into it. And you can also put some text to it in case you need to have any classification performed, like for example, important. Then this one would get this important tag. Then you can filter for that stuff later on, etc., etc. Okay. Further, you can also put any icons on the board. If you need to have, for example, a tick in the box, you have performed this test, then you just put that in there. You can change the color if needed. You can increase the size of this icon, of course. And now this test has been ticked off and is okay. Icons in general are very helpful to classify certain things, to bring the status in, etc. If you would like to add a table, because you have got classical tables to be added, then this is the table icon. Just put that somewhere on your board. You can drag it around with just this little icon up there, and then you can use this table with a regular text for now. And you can of course also put the titles bigger by clicking the Shift key and marking all the cells, or by clicking the Control key to select certain items. You can then increase the font size, and you can also, for example, change the color, but also the background color of the page of the cells can be changed. You can easily add another column by pressing this plus icon, or another row by pressing this plus icon. So anything in there can be easily done. If you need to mark a whole row, then you can also do merge, for example, certain cells together. So quite comfortable. The next important thing is what you can already see at the top. I've inserted into this board so-called framework. This is a free format framework, which is just a little box with a title at top, which is fixed, which you cannot move around, which has the big advantage. If you move this box, everything in the box will also move. This is very helpful template functionality, and if you change this title to, let's say, talking about the test here, you can also do by right-clicking on this, adding it to the outline. And it will automatically appear with the title in the outline. So next time, whenever you need to move around, you can just simply click on this one and you will be zoomed into the test box, which we have in here. So this framework is really helpful. Use the existing ones in my workshops. If your facilitator has not added a framework, also no problem. You can easily generate it by going to frameworks, adding a free form or grid area or whatever other elements. For most items, free forms is perfect. If you have got multiple frameworks, then you can also rearrange the whole frameworks just by simply adding them into here and moving them around. That will allow you to easily order your items which you have worked on and brainstormed on. I've already mentioned one topic where you want to mark multiple sticky notes by holding Control key and click and move that box around it. Then you can mark them, you can delete them, you can change the colors at the same time, but you can also do one interesting thing which is sometimes very irritating, but sometimes also very helpful if you just arrange them. You can arrange them by type, if you have got multiple ones, into a row, into a column, or into a grid. Let's use, for the sake of the example here, the row, and now they are nicely arranged. If you want to copy those 2 or 3 boxes or sticky notes, you can just simply Control-C and Control-V. So that allows you to copy something. An alternative is, if you have got a sticky note there, you can press Control-D, which automatically duplicates the sticky note. You can also duplicate multiple items by just duplicating them or triplicating them. That enables you to fast move around. If you want to move them again somewhere else, you can put them in there. You can also group items. If those stickies should always stay like they are, then you can group them, and this will now fix them, and you cannot move a single sticky but all of them at once. Ungrouping is the same way, just select a different instruction there. Okay, then let's move over to a little functionality which your facilitator may use, which is the timer. So whenever there's a timer up there set, you will see that easily by just having a timer running with a few seconds, minutes left over. And as soon as it's over, there will be a little airplane flying around or whatever is preset by your host. Another feature which is often used is voting. The voting features are helpful for getting an overview and an understanding what is important to you as participants. So let's do a test vote here. And I will just take the sticky notes. By the way, the timer just stopped, but now the voting would be only on sticky notes and on the selected section. In there, you would just, or the host will resize for you the box so that you know exactly for which ones you can vote. And then we would say it's 1 vote per person out of these boxes. And then you would just see something like this popping up. And you can then easily vote by clicking on something. If you want to undo it, just click again, remove vote, and click another box. If you want to remove it there, you can click on another one. Yeah, so we can always see how many people have voted and how many votes are left for each of them. Later on, the result will be shown and the voting is over. Another feature which your host may use sometimes is, in case you want to do some undisturbed brainstorming without having a cross look-in effect, is by using the so-called private mode. You can not select that yourself, that must be done by your host, but we easily then see no other items which work around it, and this will help to have individual brainstorming sessions without being influenced by others, and vice versa. Okay, sometimes your host decides to disable perhaps one of the features on the left-hand side. If that's done, you will see that as being grayed out. Let me just show that to you quickly. So now you would see how it looks like. No other features would be ended. And that's of course not always done, but sometimes you will not see all of these features which I have demonstrated to you. I hope you had some fun, and especially you will have some fun on your workshops, and talk to you soon. Bye.